Central Eurasia Leadership Alliance, CELA, founded in 2002, is the premier network for Central Eurasia's leaders to consistently expand their leadership skills, grow their professional network, and enhance the positive impact they make on their families, businesses, and communities.
I'd like to say good morning, good evening to everyone because we have participants from different countries. Welcome to this session on the art of public speaking. I believe that public speaking is something very essential for everyone. It doesn't have to be in front of a group of, I would say, 1,000 people. You could be exposed in front of a group of 5 people, 10, 20, or 30 people. You could be in a conference where you will be just delivering a keynote speech, or it could be a presentation in front of your colleagues or in front of a conference audience. Wherever you go, it's very important to know what you are talking about. And today, if you stay till the end of the session, I'm going to give you some tips and also give you some hints where you could improve your public speaking skills. Before we go into the presentation, I would like to declare that today I'm presenting on behalf of CELA. I'm not presenting anything on behalf of Global Affairs Canada, which is my official job, and today's weekend, so this presentation is not related at all to my job. If you have any questions during the session, you can post them in chat, or you can raise your hand and our colleagues will be happy to give you the floor to pose your questions. I will try to conclude my presentation within 15 to 20 minutes so that we will have enough time for questions and answers. You might have seen speakers like this and audience as well. Like when speakers are reading from papers or when speakers are under the pressure of the audience, then sometimes audience fall asleep or they don't pay attention. And that's the biggest problem, the biggest challenge, how to keep the attention of participants and the audience and deliver a speech or talk about something which will be of interest to participants. So to do that, let me tell you, today I will share my personal experience about this. I will give you some tips, and I will also give you a golden rule which I've learned from a highly experienced salesperson. And this is the summary of this presentation. So my presentation will be focused on 3 main points. Before we go to personal experience, I would like to ask you to scan this QR code and get to the Mentimeter, or go to www.mentimeter.com and enter this code, and then share your perspectives about the questions that we have. I have posed there 2 questions. First, I want to know what you think about this, and then we will move forward. Let me know when you scan this code so that I can move to the Mentimeter. Once you scan the code, you will go. It will take you to Mentimeter, and then you can add your answers to the question there. Yeah, Sanzar Kakar is also a great speaker. He is one of my favorite great speakers. Ustad Sayaf.
Mr. Perdes, we still see the QR code. Are you also sharing the Mentimeter screen?
Okay. Do you want me to share the? Okay, yeah, I can stop sharing this. I think it doesn't work with 2, and then share this again. Sorry for the inconvenience. Sometimes this happens. Okay, so we got a few responses. we are not here to judge here who is a great speaker and who is not, but the ones that are outstanding, like Barack Obama. Definitely, he is among the best in the world, and I love the way he speaks in group of words, and he has little pauses after important messages. I have closely worked with Sanzar Kakar. He has been a great speaker, and thank you for adding your responses. Then we have another question for you. How would you describe him or her in one or two words, like the great speaker? A visionary leader, inspiring, engaging, start friendly and smiling, personal story. Yeah, that's important. Charisma and fascinating, motivational and inspiring. Outstanding, talking without thinking, storyteller, give a hook. Yeah, spontaneous, transformational leadership skills. Thank you for adding your responses, and thank you for participating in this exercise on Mentimeter. You can also use it in the future if you want to, engaging with audience. And now we will move back to our presentation. And so the purpose of this presentation is not only to give you the skills on how to be a great public speaker, but also give you some tools on how to use these tools. Mentimeter is one of those tools. There are other tools you can find on internet. Most of them are free for the first, let's say, 50 participants. If you want to engage more than 50 participants, then you will have to pay for the plan. So to tell you about my personal story, like this is the personal experience from back 2006 or maybe 2005. Back then, I was a fresh graduate of School of Medicine, and I went to an event at Intercontinental Hotel in Kabul. The event was organized, I believe, by Ministry of Public Health with the assistance of UN partners. And there was one person who stood among all the presenters. I was there full day, but I didn't remember most of the contents from other presenters because they were just speaking. And they didn't want to focus their messages on one or two or three topics. They were going everywhere, like the people who start from A and then, or I would say start from economy and then end on politics or something else. But this one speaker who started his presentation on the issues and challenges of the Ministry of Public Health, and then he systematically came up with recommendations and solutions for every one of them. I love the presentation, and he concluded his presentation, I believe, in less than 15 minutes, and then he took several questions. And during those question and answer session, he also conveyed additional information to the participants. And once the event was done, so I decided that, okay, he is a role model for me. I want to be like him. And how can I learn from other speakers who are not good speakers? And since then, wherever I go and I attend conferences or events, I look at both positive and negative things. The speakers who are not great speakers, then I think about it, okay, I don't want to do this in my upcoming event. And the ones who are performing well, I learn from them and I want to copy their skills or the tools that they use. So that's something that has stuck to me. And throughout the years, like during the past maybe 20 years, gradually I have learned from every speaker and every event where I have participated. So that was part of the personal story. And now we get into the tips. Before we get into the, I would say, details of the tips, I want you to remember that there will be lots of other contents that you may think or you might have read in other places that are useful for being a great public speaker. But here in this presentation, I want it to be concise and to the point and make sure that I deliver the important points. For me, if you are presenting, for example, at a conference or at an event, and you need a PowerPoint presentation, it's important to organize your contents in 3x3 or 5x5 format. What do you mean by 3x3 or 5x5? When I say 3x3, like 3 bullet points, every bullet point not more than 3 words, or 5 bullet points and each bullet point not more than 5 words. Because when you have full slides, then the participants tend to read those slides before you go into those details, and then they have a better understanding of what you are saying. They don't listen to you. They don't listen to the keynote messages that you are delivering. And it needs a lot of preparation, a lot of work to make sure that you focus all of your contents on 2 or 3 topics, and then under each topic you have a few slides, and each slide has specific contents. Visuals, I recommend that you use visuals, but not too many. You can create your own visuals with the help of AI, or you can have visuals that are free to use from other sources that are not, I would say, for sale. And in some cases, you can even draw visuals. It doesn't have to be all the time something that comes from a computer, or they could be graphs. So visuals are important for keeping the participants engaged. Stories, as you mentioned on the Mentimeter, stories are important part of public speaking. If you listen to public speakers, most of the highly successful global public speakers, they start with a personal story. If they don't have a personal story, they will tell you a story about someone else. And storytelling is another art. I believe that we will have another session on storytelling and how to tell stories. I have benefited from the CELA Academy's facilitators like John King, who was one of the greatest storytellers. And I have learned the skills of how to tell stories, but I'm still improving. So if you don't have PowerPoint presentation, you still have to organize your contents. You still have to think about your delivering. You have to know your audience. Who is your audience and to whom you are presenting or to whom you are talking? For example, today, for me, the audience is mostly youth, those people who want to be engaged with CELA. Either they have been part of CELA in the past, or they want to be applicants in the future, or they might be considering application. And they need to learn or improve their skills of public speaking. Include only 2 or 3 key points to talk about, and then structure your message so that you will meet the need of the audience. It will not be something of your interest. Remember that each public speaker has 2 images. One is the visual image, the body language and appearance. It is important to have good body language and good appearance. You don't have to be suited all the time. If you are a man, if you're a woman, you don't have to be always formally dressed up. But casual business is always good, so you can mix and mingle with both. But you also have a vocal image. The moment you start speaking, that vocal image comes into action. The tone of your speaking, the speed of your speech, how fast you're speaking, whether you have pauses or not. Do you speak in group of words, 4 to 5, or you're just firing everything at the participants and expecting them to understand everything? That's important. A couple of days back, one of my friends was telling me a story about his experience. He was a journalist, and he went to an event where one of the opposition leaders was talking about a critique of a government policy. I don't want to name the country, but he told me, like, when the speaker ended his session, everyone was looking at each other like, what did he say? Nobody understood what he talked about. It was not only the contents, but also the speed of talking, the vocabulary, and the structure. So now we will get to the golden rule, but before we get to the golden rule, I would like to ask you, do you know this person? If you know him, it's good. If you don't know him, I encourage you to search him on YouTube and find his videos. He is a sales expert and trainer. And I met him in Bulgaria in 2018. He is one of the greatest speakers in the world. And he told us like a brief story about himself and how he charges a lot of money for training the salespeople for one day. And he said, like, he was asked by Toyota to conduct a workshop or a training for their salespeople. And guess what? How much he charged per day? It was astonishing. It was $18,000 per day. And he still thinks that he is underpaid because he can boost the revenues of the companies by more than that every year. So when he ended his session, I went to him and I asked him, like, give me a golden rule for public speaking. And he gave me these golden rules that I will share with you. He told me that the attention span of elders is usually starting with 100%, and then it declines as we present and as we go on and on. So every 3 to 5 minutes, if we are showing a graph, if we are showing a photo, if you are posing a question, if you are engaging participants through tools like Mentimeter, Slido, or other online tools, then we keep their attention back in 100% or close to 100%. But if you are just speaking and do not give any chance to participants to be engaged, then participants lose their attention. After 15 minutes, participants don't remember what the speaker was talking about. They just remember a mouth opening and shutting. And his second golden rule was that don't ever read from slides. That's the worst thing that you can read, either from slides or you print out your speech and you have it in front of you, unless it's a verse from your holy book or from like a quote from someone that you cannot memorize it and you need to read that. Apart from that, you should just make sure that you have enough preparation and then deliver the contents in a way that looks so natural and look in a way that you are fully in control of the subject and you are the expert. So to summarize the whole presentation, it's important to start with a bang. What's a bang? Bang is something that brings the attention of all participants. It could be a story, it could be an image, it could be a graph, it could be a question to the participants, a proverb, it could be a poem or whatever. According to the event, according to the topic of your presentation or the topic of your keynote speech, you can organize the bang, or you can think about the bang. It could be a personal story that is touching. Remember that you have visual and vocal images, and make sure that they align with each other well. The attention span of elders is usually 10 to 15 minutes and max, but at one point, like after three minutes, it starts declining. So try to keep them engaged and ask them questions or show them graphs, show them photos, and keep them engaged so that they will not lose their attention. Don't read and never read. And practice, practice, practice. Great speakers are not born, they are trained. So if you believe that you are not a great speaker at the moment, or you still need some more room for improvement, work on it. In your next session, I believe you will perform better. And then in a year or two, when you think about your first or second session, you will understand how far you are and how much you have improved. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I remain at your disposal.
Oh, Mr. Perdes, thank you very much for the great presentation and great tips that you shared with us. It was really eye-opening, and I personally made some notes out of these speeches. I hope that other members also benefited from this, which I'm sure they have. Now we open the floor for questions, so feel free, guys, to just turn on your mic and your camera. If you don't want to open your camera, no issue. But please, let's have some questions from Mr. Perdes, specific questions that you might have on the topic. Okay, so yeah, whoever wants to come on stage, please raise your hand, use the react option, and let me know so I can open your camera if you cannot do it yourself.
Hello, sorry, I have a question.
Please go ahead, Mr. Feroz.
Thank you. My name is Feroz. I have a question from Perdes, and he talked about the summary that start with the band. Is it the same as a hook?
Yeah, it's I would say a synonym to a hook, which grabs the attention of the participants. Some people call it a bang, some people call it a hook, or some people call it icebreaker, or whatever you can do so that the participants will stay engaged, and they will be there fully, not only their physical body, but also with their full attention.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So maybe Mr. Perdes, it's a good time for me to share my example here. In one of the meetings, I was invited by a group of young people. It was this event was inside the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Afghanistan, and I was supposed to give a short speech there on entrepreneurship. So when I thought how I can actually start this. So when I came to the stage, I found out that maybe this podium that's there, this can be a kind of bang for me. So when I came there, so before anything else, I said that I was afraid that maybe my height is shorter than this podium. But when I came here, I'm happy to see that there is one step that I can stand on that step and make my height equal to the podium. So it was a very one of the kind. So, and I always personally use this. I see that Mr. 𝗧𝗵𝗲 also has a question. Go ahead, Mr. 𝗧𝗵𝗲.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Leader. I have a specific question from Mr. I just forget the name. I'm sorry, from Mr. Perdes. Yeah, I'm seeing. So my question is that is there any technique for improving our speech to prevent from frequent or occasional pauses during the speech or during the time that we deliver? Is there any technique that prevent us from occasional pauses? Thank you. I hope my question is clear.
That's a good question. I believe that your question is, what if we need a filler for a gap, or we don't have something to say? And then do we need to fill that with something else or not? Or you run out of words? Do you mean, did I get your question correctly?
Yeah, it is partially, but mainly my focus is that whenever I deliver something, I take like frequent pauses. Yeah. So I mean that it is naturally that I need to just repeat. So that's a problem, and I need to improve. That's my question. Thank you.
Well, I believe that if you take a pause for a few seconds, that's fine. You don't have to worry about it. But if you run out of words, try not to use fillers. Some people use fillers like and other words that could be fillers, and they repeat them again and again and again. And if you listen to someone's speech, then during that one speech, they will repeat that one word for more than 100 times. If you run out of words, you can just say like, let me take some water. You can drink a sip of water. It will give you maybe like 3, 4, 5 seconds so that you can put your thoughts organized and then deliver them later. But there are also, I would say, cases where you make a mistake. You pronounce a name incorrectly. You say something like a word incorrectly. And if you start repeating that again and again, then participants will understand, will know that, they will notice that. But if you don't repeat that, at least more than 80% of the participants will not notice it. The remaining 20 or 15% who have noticed, they might be dubious, they might be doubtful whether that was a mistake or did they hear them incorrectly. So the moment you start repeating that, it will be an issue because you will be flagging your own mistakes. There are also, I would say, other techniques that could help you with decreasing the gaps or the pauses. One of them would be having a rehearsal in front of your family members. If you do a rehearsal once or 2 times, then it will help you fill those gaps with important things. If you run out of words and you have a longer pause, then you can show a photo and ask the participants or ask them a question so that the participants will come up with an answer. And in that case, you will have enough time, like a minute or more than a minute, to put your thoughts well organized.
All right. Well, we have
I hope I answered your question.
We have 3 more questions.
Thank you so very much.
We will start again with 𝗖𝗪𝗀. 𝗖𝗪𝗀, please go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, everyone. First, I'm sorry that I didn't speak at the beginning. I was out of town, so I couldn't turn on my mic. Before I ask my questions, I want to say, like, thank you so much for the session. I learned a lot and truly appreciate it. I have been nominated to speak at our graduation ceremony, but it's not 100% confirmed. Maybe I will be selected, maybe or not. For now, I'm just nominated. My plan was to read most of the speech from the paper, not all of them, because it's going to be a very big ceremony, right? So I noticed a picture in your slides that it was like someone was reading from paper and audience got sleep. So it got me curious to know, should I memorize everything for that day or just like reading from the paper along with good body language and eye contact? These are enough. I want to know.
Well,
Thank you.
this is a great news that you are nominated to speak at the graduation ceremony. I suggest that you do not read from the paper. You can have like small cards and you can put some notes on each card, like talking points. If you are talking about, let's say, 3 things. 1, your personal experience during the past semester. Number 2, the challenges you faced. Number 3, and how did you overcome those challenges? And finally, what is your feeling? How do you feel right now? So you can maybe prepare 4 cards, and on each card you can put 1 or 2 or maybe 3 bullet points. Those could be your talking points. And when you talk, so you don't have to read those cards. you see it, you look at the card, you read the first point, and you know like, okay, these are 3-4 points. I'm talking about my challenges, or the challenges that I faced during the first few days when I joined the school. So you know those challenges, you have already put them in order, you have written them. So you say like 1, 2, 3, these were my challenges. And before you explain your third challenge, you look again at your card and you pick the second point, which is how did you overcome those challenges, for example. Then before that point ends, you have the other point in your mind. And when you start talking about the strategies that you overcome those challenges, at the end you look at the card again and you talk about your feeling, like how do you feel right now? You must be feeling proud of yourself, you are very happy, and stuff like that. It will make it so natural for the participants, and you can say them in your own words. They don't have to be like bookish words. They don't have to come from a machine or a robot. If you read everything, you will sound like a robot. But if you tell them in your own words, they will enjoy, they will love it. You remember that participants need eye contact. You have to have eye contact, not only with one person or one group, with all of the participants. When you are in a live event, there will be maybe like 100 people, and you don't have to look at the audience all the time. Sometimes, like during the speech, you can look back at the stage where your professors are sitting, or the keynote speakers are sitting. And when you are thanking them, you can just look at them. So if you are reading it from the paper, that will be a totally, I would say, a low energy event. But when you speak it, when you have those talking points, it will make a difference for you. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. There is also, like, if there is another question, I will be happy to answer them. If not, then I will add to the context of keynote speaking or speaking at a graduation ceremony. There's also the issue of anxiety. Some people have anxiety.
Sorry,
okay. Yes,
we have two more questions. So, Mr. Akbari, Mahdi Akbari, can you please go and ask your questions? Then we have Hawa Asir, and then we have Shadab. Then maybe you can start adding more points. Yes, Akbari Sab, you can turn on your mic and start asking your question. Okay, so maybe Akbari Sab has... Okay.
Hello to everyone. Excuse me, I couldn't find the mute button. Thank you for your great presentation, Mr. Perdes. I was wondering that if you could give more information about improving body language, and what does it mean when it comes to public speaking? Thank you.
Can we take the other questions as well, and then I will respond to all of them at the same time.
You're on mute, Didar sir.
Sorry. Yeah. Hawa Asir, you can ask your question.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. And thanks for today's sessions. We really enjoyed about it. My question is directly from Mr. Perdes. I'm a new learner of English language, so actually I'm not at the beginning of this learning. So when I want to present some topics and some subjects in my own class, so maybe the whole context of my paragraph would be about maybe 20 lines, but sometimes when I want to present it, some extra information interrupted during of my presentations. Although I want to prevent from these interruptions, but these extra information when they interrupt in my speaking at the moment, sometimes I lose the sequence of those topics, although I have some keynotes or short notes from my own topic, but mostly I do this, which I'm not happy with that. So when you guide me in this section, it would be very better for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mr. 𝗧𝗵𝗵 𝗪𝗃, can you please ask your question?
Thank you for letting me ask my question. My question is, how can we act when someone is disturbing our speech or something disturbance happens to us during the speech? How can we act, actually? This was my question.
Thank you.
All of those questions are great questions. Thank you for participating and posing those questions. I will start with the last question first. How can we react when people are disturbing our speech? There could be two types of disturbances, or maybe more than two types. One is when people start asking you questions that are out of the context, or asking you questions that are not relevant, or trying to make sure that you confess that I don't know this question. So in that case, if people are asking you questions and you don't have an answer for them, you will have two strategies. One, as I did, I grouped the questions. I asked everyone, like, pose your questions, then I will try to respond to all the questions. In today's presentation, I'm not skipping any of these questions, but in that case, if there are maybe like 5 or 10 people and they are asking you questions, you can easily skip that question that you don't want to answer. The second strategy for that kind of a question would be to ask the participants. There will be maybe 10, 20, or 50 participants who wants to respond to the question of Mr. X. And believe it or not, there will always be a person or two who would want to answer that question. So that's the second way. The third way is to take it as a comment and say, like, thank you for the comment. We will consider it in the future. Participants will not notice that you took it as a comment and it was a question. Number two is that if there are people who don't listen and they start speaking, or when you give them the floor, they never stop speaking. So in that case, you will have two options, I believe. One, with the help of technology, you can turn off the mic. You can tell them that, okay, you have a minute, you have more than a minute, you have 2 minutes. And if you don't stop, then we will turn off the mic. And if they still don't stop talking, then you can use your authority. When you are on a stage, when you are presenting, you have the authority to shut someone off, like ask them, like, please stop, please don't disturb others. And the participants will look at that person and probably stop. As you grow up and you learn the new skills of public speaking and you are exposed to more and more events, then you learn the skill, you master the skill. And according to a situation, you can decide what to do or not to do. There is no single remedy, or there is no single, I would say, recommendation on how to handle this situation. You will have to deal with it based on the situation that you face. There was a question about the extra information and losing the sequence. You will probably have the cards here, and I would say when I try to put some talking points, let's say this is an A4 page. I cut this in half and then again in half. So one A4 will be split into 4 pieces. And each one of them will be a notes card for me. Like I will put the talking points on each one of them, and then on each one of them, I will put a sequence. Like let's say number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And when I put them in order, it will be easier for me to just flip them around and go to the next card. But if you still lose the sequence and you don't know what to do, if you are teaching in a class where you have a board, like a blackboard or whiteboard, you can write notes there. Or you can use a draft sheet like this. I'm also taking notes. So when the participants are posing questions, or if something like new information comes to your mind, and at that time, you don't want to talk about that, but later, if the time permits, you want to talk about it, you can just make notes. I put here some notes, and I knew that if we have enough information, and if we have enough time, I will touch them. If we don't have enough time, then I will skip. For example, the anxiety, how to control anxiety on the stage. I didn't talk about it during my presentation because otherwise, if I have talked about all these things, my presentation would have been like maybe 30 minutes or more than 30 minutes. And I didn't want to make it sound boring. The first question was about improving body language. So body language comes from different aspects. It comes like the way you have eye contact with people, the way you have hands movement or gestures. Some people have the same gestures for everything. Try to use the gestures accordingly. For example, if you are talking about something global, you can make this gesture. But if you're talking about something small or little, you can make this gesture. And also make sure that you have a posture where you are confident, your chest is a little bit out, you have wide shoulders, you're not looking at the papers, and the eye contact moving on the stage a little bit, but not more, so that if you move too much, it will look like as if the speaker is dancing, or if you have so many gestures. But accordingly, it helps. How to control your hands so that they don't go into your pockets, and how to control them so that you don't make these gestures all the time. You can have a pen with yourself. And the pen helps. Even if you play a little bit with the pen, it doesn't look so bad because it is a pen, and participants will not notice that you are playing with your fingers. This is much worse if you are doing this on a stage rather than having a pen. So I hope I have answered your questions.
I see that 𝗪𝗁 still has something to share. Please go ahead, 𝗪𝗁.
Yeah, yes, please. Yeah.
Sorry, sir. The question was, I have this tip notes and this short notes myself, but the problem is when I avoid reading the steps through the course or sticky notes and this so on. So, and here my own information interrupt on my subject when I want to present it. So this is why that I face the problems with explanations and giving lots of information, and it takes a long time. That maybe I think that it became a boring presentation. So this was my questions, that for avoid to interrupting this extra information in my own subject. So in here, what should I do?
In that case, I believe you should stick to the plan. Whatever you have on those sticky notes or your card notes, you should stick to that. And once you are done, if you have additional time at the end, you can add a few more points because you have already done your homework. You have enough preparation for this. You have put everything on notes, and when you go into class, there will be like 100 more points that come into your mind. You don't have to talk about all of those 100 points. Stick to the plan and just present whatever you have decided, whatever you have planned. And then let the participants ask you questions. If they ask you questions and those are relevant, then you can answer them and you can probably convey parts of those information that come into your mind during your presentation.
Thank you, sir, so much.
Okay, Perdes, we don't have more questions. If you want
okay,
to
so
add
I will
else,
give them one last step
Okay.
about how to control anxiety, and then you can close up. Most of us, when we become the first time keynote speakers, or when we speak in public for the first time, we have anxiety. This is normal. It is the fear of what if I fail? What if I make a mistake? What if? There are certain strategies for that. Number one, make sure that you get to the place of the event maybe 10 minutes before the event. So you get familiar with the stage, you get on the stage before the participants, you greet a few people there, and that helps you. Number two, do not grab the stage. If you are delivering a keynote in front of people and you are at a podium, do not grab the podium, because that's something that shows your anxiety. Have some water, have a few deep breaths, and take the breath. That helps you calm down. And if you are so much afraid and you are delivering a speech, let's say to public in an open space. In that case, you can also put sunglasses. Sunglasses will help you not to concentrate on the people, but even if you look in front of you on the papers that are in front of you or the notes that you have, people will not notice that you don't have eye contact with them. Good luck. I believe that this is like an ocean, and we try to bring the ocean into like a small bottle and present it in few minutes. If you are interested in this topic, make sure that you follow great speakers like Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and several other great speakers who are around the world. Watch their interviews, watch their keynote speeches, and learn from them. And when you go to events where people are not good speakers, in that case, you will also learn. Try not to do what they are doing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Perdes. It was a very helpful session full of a lot information, knowledge, and I would say wisdom, not just knowledge, because when you talk from your experience, you're talking things which are not written in the books, but it's from your own experience. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you everyone for joining us. I'm very amazed to see that we had more than 20 people attending while we had around 30 people registered. So usually there will be like 50% drop, but this time I see that we have a lot of people joining us. We will continue with these sessions, and I would like you guys to join us on LinkedIn for future updates and future webinars. We try to bring you one webinar every month, but if we have enough resources, we can come with more. And at the same time, I would like to once again invite those who feel they meet the criteria, which I mentioned in the beginning, to join CELA 18. Right now on top of my screen, you can see the link to the page. I've also shared it on the chat.